Diving the SS Oregon. For most of this dive, we're going to stay on the port side. Coming down the descent line to the engine, see two divers here who've just finished their dive, going up to the dive boat. You can make out the entire top of the engine. Moving along the port side of the engine, moving in the aft direction. There are large swim-throughs within the engine, as you can see here. Just aft of the engines here, a large debris field of material, aiming toward the port quarter. And here we are, there's some mooring bights. And the sand here is at about 100 or 125 feet. And we're moving dead aft along the port side here. In the distance you can see the steering quadrant. It's a very large structure, about 20 feet across. Lots of fish around it. From here we turn back, staying on the port side. You can see lots of artifacts along the port side here, going back toward the engine. Again, you can see lots of lingcod in the sand. There's so many of them, you can just drop down into the sand and they'll just swim all around you. Literally, there are hundreds of them. You can even just put your camera in the sand and they'll swim right up to it. Continuing forward, we pass by the engine again. We're on the port side. Still on the port side, moving forward to the engine. Look to your right at this point, you see some of the boilers. Continuing along the port side. Forward to the boilers on the port side, you eventually run into a large piece of the hull. You can follow this forward. It does fragment, but you can follow it forward all the way to the bow. Here we are at the bow. You can see that the bow is tilted over toward the starboard side. It's collapsed toward the starboard side. At this point, we turn around and head home. Going by some of the structures near the boilers. Finally back to the engine. Many of the dives are decompression dives on this wreck. So we use the top of the engine as our first deep deco stop. Here you can see lots of sea bass curious about us. In the distance you can see another diver being on the ascent line going up to the dive boat. Once we finished our deco times, we ascended the dive boat.